Good morning, guys. It is 5 a.m. in Wakayama prefecture, and I'm back to a place that I haven't been in years. I'm gonna guess at least 3 years. And the last time I came out here was entirely, well, not by plan. Wasn't quite an accident, but was driving through the Japanese mountains, heading towards the area of Kobe, when I saw highway signs and thought, you know what? I cannot remember the last time that I have been down to the area of Wakayama and decided to take a left-hand turn onto the highway that led us out into this direction. At the time, I shot a bunch of scenes and happened to manage to put together a video on this space. And I've always wanted to come back since my time here was so rushed and limited, and albeit very, very beautiful that day, didn't really have the best weather. And so today we have come back to Nachi Taisha. And as with any good adventure here on the TOKYOLENS Explore channel, it starts with a set of stairs. And if we're gonna give it a stair rating right out of the gate, I'll go ahead and I'll give these a 5 out of 10. They're all kind of leaned down a bit, so they actually require you as a person to lean forward, slightly unbalanced. They are even, but you know, we've seen some more beautiful stairs, albeit more dangerous. Yesterday we got our first ever 10 out of 10 when I recorded a shrine out not too far from here, maybe 2 to 3 hours away. I will link that one up above, and as we go up we can see the sun has yet to even come up over the mountains, and so we have gotten here at the perfect time. Actually, gotten here at the perfect time is a bit of a misspeak, as I spent the night here. And I don't know if you can see this. We've got a caterpillar just kind of floating along there. Drove out here last night and spent the night here. As you can hear from the birds in the background, it was a very peaceful night, quiet, with zero issue. And this here is what we are doing today. We're gonna try and cover as much of this as possible. There's a beautiful pagoda over here. We're gonna start by going up this way, and then later on make our way down to the waterfall. And the base of the waterfall is just spectacular. At the point that I am recording this, we are well into, I guess, day two and a half of the 1 million seconds through Japan adventure. And it has been exactly that, an adventure. Yesterday, I stumbled across a hidden... Ooh, I want to go up there. Let's take a peek behind us. It's going to be a beautiful sunrise when that sun comes up. I stumbled across a hidden, abandoned school. Once again, Japan has so many of these tucked deep into a mountain valley. And unlike Yotan's abandoned school, there was unfortunately nobody living or making coffee in this one. And it was by far the creepiest abandoned school experience that I've had the opportunity to have so far. There will be a full playlist of all of these videos linked. Every single video that is recorded on this trip or that was streamed live will be in that playlist. And at the time of release of this one, it means that likely we still have many more videos to come out since we are so early in this. You know, I know this is the right pathway, but seeing as it dumps us out into what feels like people's homes, it feels like we've taken a wrong turn, but we haven't. I just do love that flow of stairs though, and the little stone walkways. On the plus side, since yesterday's adventure was kicking us off in the rain, I ended up soaking wet, and a fair portion of the day went into drying my shoes, as I figured I'd probably need the same pair for today. But when I came across that abandoned school, I had a wee bit of a hiccup along the way and took a bit of damage and didn't realize that I had taken that damage until I had gotten to a public bath later on in the day. And look at this space here. This is why I come back to reshoot these as walks, because as beautiful as this space was the first time I came, coming in this weather gives it a completely different feel. My original video of this place was all clouds through the mountains, sitting nice and low, a gray, rainy day. And here's our entrance right here. Let's head up this way and continue our stairs, which seem to be a little less consistent than the previous set. Equally as nice, but now I'm looking through the filter of yesterday's stairs, so they don't get that high of a rating. My first time in Japan was 2005, which really doesn't feel like it's that long ago, but is 19 years ago. It's nearly 20. I'm gonna keep left on this side. Nearly 20 years ago, my first time stepping foot into Japan. And it makes me incredibly happy to say that here I am recording this in 2024, and I'm still just excited to be in this spot and see things like that dragon, these stairs, and this beautiful Nachi Taisha shrine as I was back then. A large part of it comes down to me spending well over half of that time in Japan just doing a job that I didn't particularly enjoy that much, and being stuck just going home, train, office, train, home on loop. But now we get to travel and say good morning to these horses at 5 a.m. Good morning, horse. And I am incredibly grateful for this and the fact that I can share it with you. There are so many things that are just so simple. I was speaking to a Japanese gentleman yesterday along my adventure, and he'd mentioned how a lot of this, like, you know, the stone, the moss, the architecture, the shrines, the temples, the mountains. He's from the Wakayama area. How a lot of this has just become normal, second nature. It's available everywhere, all around them at all times. And so the mystique, the excitement isn't there. There are still so many people that enjoy it and, you know, are out here to live within that, to go hiking, to enjoy the area. And there are a lot of those people, but there are just as many people who this is just a day-to-day thing to them, and they do not see the beauty and the excitement. And it's one of the reasons why, if you go out to Japan's countryside, you'll often run into a lot of people who are very happy to have you there and very happy to stop and have conversations. And it's not just, yay, a visitor, yay, a foreign visitor. It's more often than not, yay, a fresh perspective. You see, being in Japan this long, still one of my favorite things is hosting guests and visitors. When any of my friends or family come from overseas, I absolutely love having them around because I get to look at Japan through their eyes, a whole fresh perspective. And it makes me reappreciate and re-notice things that over time have gradually become normal to me. Obviously, I don't think something as visually striking and beautiful as this would ever really become normal to me. But I remember last time doing everything I could to dodge the rain, walking under these pavilions here, getting shots of the monks walking along here and the temple hands. And now just have free range of the entire area. The sun is slowly starting to come up over the mountains here. And it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous morning here in Wakayama. So I found it very interesting because the gentleman and I had started our conversation because he was very, very friendly. I had just pulled off to the side of the road. I was getting some shots of a local mountain view. These Emma here, you can write your wishes on them. And he came up and just greeted me super friendly and was like, what are you doing in the area? And we got to chatting. And I was like, do you get a lot of visitors out here? Because we were fairly high up on a mountain and definitely required some driving. And he's like, almost daily. And many people have different reasons or goals or origins. And it's always a good chat. And I loved that perspective. He had met people who were doing the Kumano Kodo Trail hiking. He had met people who were just trying to hit as many temples and shrines in Japan as possible to get their books signed. A lot of temples and shrines, especially the ones in Shikoku on the pilgrimage, have a priest who will sign and stamp your book for you in a very, very beautiful way. There's a special stamp book just for that. He's met people who have just come out to do traveling, people shooting TV shows, you name it. And It says that he tries to stop and talk to as many as possible along the way because it refreshes his appreciation, invigoration, and love for the area. And I'm very curious about these here. Got another set of steps here, alternate way up. And as we come down this way, we'll be able to see the pagoda along with the falls in the background. And I will show you one of my favorite photo spots right over here. And there it is. The sun is officially up, peeking over the mountains. Oh, that is such a beautiful morning shot. We're gonna head over this way. Gozaimasu. Actually, just this morning as I was waking up, I had one of the monks who doesn't live at the temple pull up nearby me and start getting ready for the morning. And I didn't want to bother him with too much chit chat, but it was definitely a testament to what you can experience in the area when you come out nice and early. And it looks like this here, they've actually got a camera just permanently pointed at Nachi Falls out here. We punch in a little. That is the view we get. And there are some amazing viewpoints to get photos and pictures. Obviously, this here is one of them. Right up here at the top. And I'll show you as many as I can along the way. I also am going to be sneaking in my own extra shots as we do this, see? Trying to get as much footage of this area as I can as the sun comes up. So heading around this way, down near these houses here, there are some beautiful spots, but I have yet to make my way up here. So we're gonna take these stairs and see what this vantage point will give us. There's a sign on here, both in Japanese and in English. This is Tachiri Kinshi, do not enter, keep out. And then there's another sign up here as well that says keep out. And it's somewhat unfortunate that they would need to put that sign, let alone obviously in multiple languages. And so it means that somebody at some point has made their way into there when they shouldn't have. And Japan has had quite a bit of a struggle with its return to over-tourism in the past couple of months. And unfortunately, while most people, especially those who watch and comment, chat along, follow these adventures, are very, very kind, and I'm sure travel very responsibly, there are just as many people out there who unfortunately don't. And there are entire sections, for example, of Kyoto that, due to the lack of manners, they've just completely shut down for non-local access. The other thing that at the time of recording that Japan is struggling with is, oh, I know I can't, but I really want to go up these stairs. This is obviously not my space. I'm not going to be one of those people. Got like all the moss and the spider web in my face. And I know that would be such a beautiful little space up there. We're gonna be good. We're not gonna go. It doesn't say do not enter, but as I'm one of the only people here at the moment, I'm pretty sure that that would stand out, and I'd rather not stand out in a negative way. There we go. And so entire areas of Kyoto and other areas are being closed off for tourists, and at the time of recording this, Japan is struggling with the dollar to yen gap being the worst it has been in decades. The other day it was somewhere near 160 yen to the dollar, which is, well, for Japan that's pretty painful. But for visitors to Japan, that's a very, very lucky. I'm just distracted by the sunrise. That is a very lucky, and in Japan they're calling it enyasu, and so it means that a lot of people are able to enjoy Japan at a much cheaper price than when it was near $1 to 100 yen. I've had to work hard to break the habit of, saying $1 to 100 yen, because it is just simply no longer the case. There's another set of stairs here that I want to head up. So we're gonna go up this way here. Before the pandemic, Japan, especially areas like Kyoto, were suffering strongly from over-tourism. And lately, it's come back with a vengeance. I had been lucky enough to shoot a documentary during that time when Kyoto was completely empty, where I got to speak to many of the locals, and where about 90% of them were expressing how they missed, look at that, having people around. And this is another one of the great viewpoints over here. Not the best of them. One of the best is actually down there, but still a really beautiful one. Punch in a bit here. Newspaper delivery bike early in the morning. Just as many, not just as many, I'd say about 10%. We're saying that it's simply made Kyoto more livable again. You see, for the longest time, Kyoto people couldn't even take their local city buses. They couldn't get to work easily. And all of that again has kind of started to come back with a bit of a vengeance. I'm curious as to this here, because there are trails in here that lead us out to the Kumano-Kodo, the hiking path, and I have yet to have the opportunity to explore them. But I thought, with a beautiful morning like this, it might be nice to add a little bit of forest to our walk. These stairs also very uneven, but I will give them a solid 7 out of 10, just because, well, look at them. Doesn't even need a because for these. There we go. And so, as Japan struggles with the return to over-tourism, look at this. As well as the weakening Japanese yen, there have been talks of doing things like having locals only pricing versus visitor pricing. And I hesitate to bring that up in a walk like this because I often want these videos to be a little more timeless. Whether you watch this in 2024 or whether YouTube is still a thing and you're watching this in 2050, I want it to be relevant and enjoyable. But this is hopefully just a current struggle that Japan is going through, and I'm trying to decide how far we're gonna go up. We'll go up just a little bit more. Every time we come around a corner, I'm hoping we'll see just a little bit more of where this is gonna take us. But every time we come around a corner, I'm finding myself just wanting to go around the next corner. So we'll just come up here, see where it takes us, and get back down to the Nachi Taisha area. And so, oh no, I was like, we'll get up here, we'll see where it takes us. And it takes us up the mountain for some while. Look at this. I don't know how well it's showing up, but this just continues up, 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 up for quite a while. This feels like a hike, an adventure that we're gonna have to come back and do as an entirely separate piece, because as you guys know, I have a love for hiking these beautiful trails in Japan. Anywhere that has really good nature, whether you're in Wakayama, Japan, or Nakasendo, or out in the trails of Oregon, anywhere that has really beautiful nature, you're gonna get incredible hikes and trails. I recently took 2 Japanese shamisen players that I work with named Kiki out to Alaska, and had completely forgotten that due to Alaska's geographical position, we would be experiencing considerably later sunsets. The sun didn't start going down until about 10 p.m. And my one kind of sadness of my very, very short time in Alaska is that I didn't get to do more exploring while I was there. But it's made it so that I've got a goal for a place to go back. And can you imagine hiking through these woods in the morning, coming down this and seeing all of this when you come out? That's another thing. When I do these adventures, when I do these hikes, these walks, I always look and think, these are trails and paths and mountains that have been used for centuries. And more often than not, while often used by locals, they be used to get from one point to another. And so unknown travelers who had never come out to this area or seen this with their own eyes and didn't have access to the internet would be stumbling across, well, knowingly coming across. Ooh, these mossy steps are a little dangerous. We just slipped. We're okay. Would be coming across this and visually experiencing all of it for the first time. And so as I come out of here, that's the kind of thing that's usually on my mind, is that while things have been obviously rebuilt and repainted and kept in tip-top condition out here in Nachi Taisha, you know, like how many decades ago were people coming across this and had maybe only seen photos in a newspaper or drawings of it, and got to come out and experience this visual treat for the very first time. When I climbed Mount Fuji, oh, when was that? That was considerably before I started YouTube. I think I climbed Mount Fuji somewhere around 2014, 2015. I had some friends that really wanted to give it a go, and that mountain has always been there. It is not particularly new to Japan. And okay, I'm on the fence about whether or not to go out this way or to go down, but I kind of want to take these stairways down a little bit and get a little bit of a different vantage point. We'll come around here. We'll come around here, get to know the area a little better, and then we'll go down. So it says right here, like the 3-story pagoda and Nachi waterfall is right out this way. So we'll head this way. One thing we are not short on this morning is time. So I really want to just experience the entire area. And so getting up on Mount Fuji, obviously the landscape of Japan isn't going to change. And so I found myself thinking that these were views that people had seen for centuries and centuries with little to no change. And I felt lucky and grateful to be able to experience that in that way. Is that a set of stairs over there? I think it is. I did not even realize there's a parking lot up here. This parking lot is likely for temple guests and staff and stuff like that. The parking lots down there are paid parking lots for visitors. There we go. We'll come down this way. And we're actually coming up to another one of the great photo spots here. Come down these stairs and take a peek. Now, yesterday's hike that kicked everything off was a bit of a challenge, but I also did not realize how much of a challenge going downstairs at an incredibly slow speed would be, especially very, very steep stairs. And okay, you know what? I think one of my favorite photo spots was right up this way. So if you take this path here, I'll show you. And so in order to not slip and fall, you took the stairs at an incredibly slow pace. And for the first time that I can remember, my legs were shaking at the end of the day. Okay, this little space right here, this is one of my favorite spots to get a view of Nachi Taisha and the waterfall in the background. Look at that. You can hear the roar of the waterfall as well. I absolutely love it. Wow. Such a beautiful, beautiful way to start the morning. And then we'll head back down this way. Actually, you know what? Just to be fair, I will show you guys exactly. So if I zoom into 5 times, you can get a nice shot like that one right there. It's just a really, really spectacular spot to get a photo. There we are. And so today I'm still in slight recovery mode. I tend to do a lot of little hikes, even in my own personal time. I love going out to the mountains. It's one of the beautiful things about living in Tokyo is it gives you that wonderful juxtaposition as well as kind of, I wouldn't say the need, but the desire to get out and explore just a little bit more. The city itself is wonderful and it's filled with everything you need, but while there are parks and nature and all of that, this is another great photo spot. It comes with a bench right here. You can get a view of the pagoda over here. Tokyo still is Tokyo, and getting out into nature and exploring just feels, it gives me a different sense of appreciation when I live in such a crowded, populous place. Even in Tokyo, I don't take nearly as many trains as the average person living there. I'm able to cycle pretty much anywhere that I want to go. You know, I'm gonna make my way down to the waterfall itself. The pagoda here, you can actually go up and in, but my guess is that that doesn't open until probably closer to maybe 9 o'clock, and we're still, it's not even 6 yet. It's still just after 5 a.m. but we'll go up here and see what view we can get of the waterfall there before we walk down. Such a wonderful, you know, considering how everything else is freshly painted, this is actually considerably more faded and likely due for a paint job sometime soon, because this is one of the areas that they do. Oh, I should widen that up again. I almost completely forgot. There we go. Because this is one of the areas that does get quite a few tourists in comparison to some of the other areas in Wakayama. Just want to get the waterfall in the background here. They luckily have the funding to take care of a lot of their beautiful spaces like this. But if you come out here, I cannot encourage you enough to not just I'm running a horn. What a treat. You know what? With this in the background, let's go take a peek at the mountains as the sun rises over them. And we will make our way down towards the waterfall down there. Now, if I remember, it's a little bit of a trek to get down there, but it'll show us more of what is available in the area. And coming back to what I was just saying, I cannot encourage you strongly enough to not just stick to here. You see, the very first time that I came through here, I was doing what I'd called at the time the unnamed adventure. Just kind of hit the road, didn't entirely have a plan, had a bit of a theme. I originally wanted to find abandoned places, and found not just abandoned places, but incredible people along the way, and changed it from what was originally the abandoned adventure to the unnamed adventure. And is there a walking path here that will take us down? Nope, that is a cliff. I thought maybe there was a walking path. There's most certainly not a walking path. And so this was just kind of a side visit that happened more than was planned. most stuff on that trip had not been planned. It just, I heard there was something beautiful here. I have not yet been there. Let's go check it out. You see, after spending that decade or so in Japan, working the go to work, take a train, go home, rinse and repeat lifestyle, I was just itching to get out and explore the country a little bit more. I wanted to finally see and do Japan in a way that I hadn't yet. And this stairway here tells me we might not need to take the car path. There's probably stairs right over here, so we're gonna go ahead and take those. I don't feel silly at all. And the unnamed adventure was kind of my opportunity to get out and explore the Japan that I had kind of been longing to explore for so long. And it's also one of the things that kind of had helped me re-fall in love with this country and led to years worth of exploration, because the more I explored, the more I realized just how little I had seen and how much there was to see. And so it's one of the things that's brought us here today. I once talked about the quote that oh no, I can't remember it. Something along the lines of limitations breed creativity. Art, there we go. No. Art's enemy. The enemy of art is limit. No. Why can't I remember it, Norm? It's literally written on your table, Norm. I've literally written it on my table. The point being that limitations breed creativity. And it's something I feel very, very strongly about and I really believe in. And when I shifted from full-time work and kind of doing YouTube as like a background hobby thing, as a way for me to just share more shamisen music with the world, to just creating, I all of a sudden didn't have all these limitations. I had a lot more open time in my schedule. I had the whole country in front of me to explore, and at the beginning it was, well, almost overwhelming. And these stairs here, I will give these an 8 out of 10. They are not consistent, but they are very aesthetically pleasing and dry enough to go down without falling. I wouldn't want to do this on a wet day, but today, not bad. And so over the years, one of the things that I've done is I've imposed little limits on myself. Okay, this time I'm only going to travel for 3 days. This time I'll travel for 5. This may be our longest adventure so far at 1 million seconds, totaling 11 and a half days. But I already feel the crunch and limitations, because yesterday, as I drove through the Wakayama area, I realized how much more there is here that I really desperately want to explore. And and how much I've been missing out on just driving into the mountains on surface value. If you look at Google Maps and you're like, oh, things to do in Wakayama, and you Google all of those things, honestly, not that much great stuff comes up. There's a few beautiful things, but it's when you pick 3 or 4 main points that are spread apart by a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours, and you actually go and drive to them, like driving deep into the mountains between Wakayama and Nara, heading in the Nara direction. There is so much to be discovered. Some of the most beautiful driving views that I have seen in my entire life have been on this drive, and I cannot express to you enough how much it would be a waste to come out and just experience this area. And you might be saying, well, Norm, I don't drive. I don't have a car. and that is entirely fine. A lot of this area is actually accessible and serviceable by buses, even going deep into the mountains. There's a village nearby, Totsukawa village. It is the largest village in Japan, if I'm not mistaken, and it is, every inch of it is breathtaking and spectacular in every sense of the word. So I driven up this way, likely parked over that way, and then the falls are right out this way. And there are even buses that run in between Nara and Wakayama, and they are plentiful considering how many buses I saw yesterday. So I cannot possibly recommend enough to you. If you are looking to add something to your Japan that's going to give you that sense of exploration, and maybe you don't have the time to make it out as far as Shikoku, which I always recommend, I cannot push this area enough, especially if you've come to Japan a few times and you feel like you've seen some really beautiful spots, but you're just looking to connect with that old Japan just a little bit more, get away from those touristy locations and find something that feels just a little more, I don't want to say disconnected, but maybe off the beaten path. You can easily find those by traversing the spaces between these places that are on the beaten path. Like Nachi Taisha and the Nachi waterfall is far from being off the beaten path in any sense of the word. It is a major spot, and had we started this walk at 7 or 8 in the morning, maybe even 9, we would likely be fighting some form of crowds. But going from here to other spots, like the largest torii gate in all of Japan is not too far from here, but you've got to go into the mountains to access it. That'll be my main tip for you. Look for the largest torii gate, I believe in Japan, definitely in Wakayama, and head out in that direction if you ever come here, whether it be by bus, by car, whatever it may be. There are still some wonderful trains that come through this area, but the mountain roads is something that you have to experience, and the little villages and valleys along the way. There are World Heritage sites out here. There are villages tucked on top of mountains, high up above the clouds. It is spectacular. And so while I'm sharing this Nachi Taisha and the waterfall, which as we get closer, hopefully you're getting a bit more of a scale of just how big this is. These here are really just, I guess, spectacular starting points for what could be a much more impactful and significant adventure. I'm going to be putting together an entire adventure for the main channel on TOKYOLENS that encompasses, hopefully, the original plan was to do everything, to share everything we're doing in this 11-day period. But considering how much we got on day 1, I'm a little bit worried that it could be an hour to 2 hour video. So look at that waterfall though. It's come through just like this. The scale is just And while coming out this early in the morning enables us to get views like this with next to no people around. I guess here, no people around. It does sometimes come at a little bit of a cost as well. That is, if you like going out, there's a stage up there, which in English has been dubbed the Waterfall Worship Stage. And you probably see it through the trees, right up over there. And things like that, or the ability to buy the omamori charms and whatnot, all of that is closed up early in the morning and not really an option. But you can also do what I've done oh so many times, which is come out early, enjoy it ones like this, rest a little bit, grab yourself an hour or two of shut-eye, and then make your way back into the area or back into the main parts once things have started to wake up, and you get kind of two different versions of the area that way. And this is the map. We started up there and we made our way down right around into there. I kind of just want to... There's also a public washroom down here, which, you know, usually not significant enough to show, but I think the way this one is done is kind of neat. So we'll go down these stairs here because it brings you right out into the valley area here. A little hut down there. See, like, the stairs here just makes me want to travel, explore, and adventure. And then this is the water closet. I find myself very curious about what's in there. It's likely a maintenance hut, but curiosity remains. Actually, this map is almost easier to read and see. So we started out around this area and made our way up here, and then came down up to the pagoda and down. So hopefully this gives a somewhat comprehensive view of what the entire area looks like. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I hope that maybe it's inspired one or two people to come out and explore everything always. Thank you so much for hanging out today. And you know, I will see you again real soon.